My daughter-in-law, Amanda, had no idea that when she told me my workshop shed was way too fancy for someone your age, and I should downsize to something more appropriate for a retired person, she was speaking to Dr. Patricia Louise Hendricks Morrison, former Chief Technology Officer at Meridian Industrial Solutions, whose $3.8 billion manufacturing automation empire included the very robotic systems that powered her husband's precision machining company, whose private patent portfolio encompassed over 247 industrial automation innovations that generated $18 million annually in licensing fees, and whose engineering consulting network had quietly ensured that the ambitious 34-year-old business owner, who assumed his elderly mother-in-law was just another technology-challenged senior living on a modest pension, never bothered to question why his CNC equipment orders were always approved at below-market rates, why his facility's power grid upgrades happened without the typical 6-month delays, or why technical specifications from Advanced Manufacturing Technologies LLC and Precision Engineering Holdings were regularly delivered to a woman he considered too old to understand modern industrial equipment, never realizing that the simple retired lady he had dismissed was actually the owner of his $2.3 million manufacturing operation, and the industrial engineering authority who had been quietly coordinating his company's technological infrastructure, while he treated the elderly woman whose technical expertise created his business opportunities like an outdated burden, deserved quality workspace in her own backyard. Before we dive into this incredible story of family entitlement meeting industrial engineering authority and the manufacturing empire my ungrateful son-in-law never knew existed, make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me about your worst experience with family members who assumed you didn't deserve nice things because of your age, and subscribe so you never miss stories like this one about what happens when entitled relatives dismiss elderly family members as technologically incompetent, only to discover just how catastrophically wrong they can be when ageist assumptions meet the kind of industrial automation control that could transform their comfortable business lifestyle into a harsh lesson about respecting your elders and understanding that engineering expertise doesn't expire with age. My name is Dr. Patricia Louise Hendricks Morrison. I'm 72 years old, and this story begins on March 22, 2024, when I returned from my quarterly board meeting with the International Manufacturing Technology Council in Chicago to discover that my son-in-law Marcus had made what he considered a practical property assessment that would reveal his true character and teach him the most expensive lesson about dismissing elderly relatives whose quiet engineering genius had been ensuring that promising young manufacturing entrepreneurs maintained cutting-edge equipment accessing, seamless regulatory approvals, and the kind of technological backing that determined whether ambitious precision machining businesses could afford state-of-the-art facilities or spend their evenings calculating equipment lease payments that could destroy their carefully constructed manufacturer's enterprise Austin lifestyle. To understand how my son-in-law Marcus Daniel Rodriguez, a 34-year-old precision machining company owner running Rodriguez Advanced Manufacturing with 12 full-time employees, 6 specialized technicians, 0 zeros and an annual revenue, while operating from a facility whose equipment, financing, regulatory compliance, and technological infrastructure I had been coordinating through my private industrial network for 4 years, ended up watching his comfortable manufacturing lifestyle disappear through legitimate technology ownership protocols within 48 hours of telling his elderly mother-in-law that her workshop shed was too good for someone her age. You need to know who I was before my carefully maintained image as a simple retired engineer living in a modest suburban home concealed the industrial automation expertise and manufacturing technology authority that had elevated me from junior systems analyst in 1976 to chief technology officer at Meridian Industrial Solutions, a position that required overseeing $12.7 billion in annual industrial technology transactions and creating the automation networks that determined manufacturing accessibility for over 3,400 precision engineering companies throughout the Midwest Industrial Corridor, California's Central Valley manufacturing region, and Texas automotive production communities. For 46 extraordinary years, I was Dr. Patricia Morrison, distinguished industrial technology professional at one of North America's most prestigious manufacturing automation firms, starting as an entry-level computer programming assistant, when industrial automation was still handled through punch card systems and mechanical relay controls stored in massive mainframe computers, advancing through every level of engineering responsibility, until my strategic retirement in 2022, as Chief Technology Officer with authorization over family business coordination, multi-generational manufacturing, and industrial ownership systems that most people never understand or appreciate during their comfortable assumptions about equipment ownership and technology market accessibility. My career had encompassed every aspect of industrial automation and manufacturing technology development, from basic programming coordination and equipment integration to complex multi-generational business planning that determined whether promising families maintained their manufacturing operations across decades of technological advance, whether young professionals received appropriate financing support for equipment purchases that required industrial backing, and whether the next generation of successful manufacturers achieved the technology ownership and automation relationships that distinguished lasting prosperity from temporary business success and equipment speculation that could disappear during economic uncertainty. The scope of my industrial responsibilities had grown to encompass managing comprehensive technology portfolios for 47 manufacturing companies across 8, coordinating with federal technology authorities who required accurate documentation for regulatory compliance and industrial safety protocols, implementing sophisticated financing systems that balanced individual business needs with technology accountability requirements, designing equipment assistance programs that synchronized seamlessly between private investors, federal agencies, and regional development firms, and troubleshooting complex ownership complications that could affect everything from individual business technology success to multi-generation manufacturing development that influenced industrial markets and family business stability throughout the American manufacturing community and beyond, into international industrial development networks. During my 4 decades of distinguished industrial service, I had personally overseen technology coordination for over $47.2 billion in family manufacturing projects throughout the Midwest and Southern industrial regions, supervised direct coordination between 29, collaborated extensively with federal manufacturing officials who required accurate regional data for compliance analysis and regulatory oversight, and managed emergency financing support protocols during market volatility that required immediate coordination between banking institution regulatory agencies and private technology development firms to ensure business operational stability while maintaining institutional integrity and privacy protections that balanced equipment access with financing optimization and regulatory compliance requirements throughout the most challenging industrial market periods in modern American manufacturing history. The transformation that I had witnessed and managed during my career was extraordinary, from manual equipment documentation systems stored in traditional filing cabinets to sophisticated encrypted digital platforms that could instantly verify financing eligibility, equipment ownership status, maintenance histories, and technology availability across institutional networks that connected individual business equipment support to national industrial development systems operating throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, and selected international manufacturing markets. I had been personally responsible for training over 30 industrial technology professionals in equipment management administration protocols, regulatory compliance procedures, and financing coordination techniques that required both advanced engineering expertise and deep understanding of business dynamics, federal manufacturing regulation, and technology privacy protections that distinguished legitimate industrial development from speculative equipment schemes that could destabilize regional manufacturing. My position as Chief Technology Officer meant that I possessed what was essentially master-level access to the North American Industrial Development Network, the ability to classify financing eligibility, coordinate multi-institution equipment distribution, implement emergency manufacturing, support protocols, and evaluate business conduct that could instantly transform someone's technology status, from guaranteed financing access to comprehensive equipment review, requiring extensive character evaluation and regulatory compliance verification, complete through proper institutional channels and documentation processes that could take months or years to resolve satisfactorily through traditional industrial administration and business equipment coordination system. But perhaps the most significant aspect of my industrial career was my role in developing and implementing the automated equipment administration protocols that determined how institutional financing flowed between private technology portfolios, industrial development system regulatory verification networks, and business equipment coordination throughout the greater Texas manufacturing region and the broader American Southwest. I had personally written financing specifications that guided technology development for dozens of Texas's most successful precision manufacturing families, established coordination procedures between equipment managers and regulatory authorities, and created evaluation protocols that ensured consistent, appropriate equipment distribution across industrial programs that served both individual business technology needs and community development excellence requirements throughout Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Arizona manufacturing markets. The institutional industrial infrastructure that I had helped design and implement served as the model for Southwest manufacturing development, with technology institutions in other states consulting our protocols for guidance on business equipment coordination, industrial wealth management, and compliance implementation that balanced business owner expectations with regulatory optimization throughout the most complex technology planning scenarios. My expertise had been featured in industrial publications, including Southwest Manufacturing, Technology Development Quarterly, Industrial Automation Management Review, and the Journal of Precision Manufacturing Excellence, and consulted by technology development firms throughout the region who wanted to implement similar equipment administration systems and automated protocols that served both individual business needs and multi-generational technology monitoring requirements. Marcus's comfortable life operating his precision machining business from a state-of-the-art facility in Austin's premier industrial district, which he considered evidence of his engineering excellence and strategic business planning, was actually supported by the kind of seamless equipment coordination and institutional technology administration that I had been creating and maintaining throughout my entire career. The perfect financing coordination that ensured his equipment lease payments remained manageable despite rising interest rates throughout the smooth regulatory approvals that had helped him during his facility expansion transition 18 months ago when he added his fourth CNC machining center and purchased diagnostic equipment worth the comprehensive technology support that enabled his automation upgrades and precision tooling investments, and the industrial coordination that provided optimal regulatory compliance rates and equipment insurance premiums that saved his business over $1,000 annually, all depended on the kind of sophisticated institutional equipment management and private technology administration that required exactly the expertise I had been developing for over 4 decades of distinguished professional service. The Rodriguez family home where Marcus lived with my daughter Sarah and conducted his weekend engineering projects represented not just impressive Texas suburban real estate, it was a testament to the sophisticated business planning and technology coordination that had elevated our family from working-class origins in San Antonio, upper-middle-class homeownership status in Austin's exclusive Westlake Hills community over the course of my professional career, and strategic technology acquisition planning. The beautifully maintained 3,200-square-foot contemporary house, featuring vaulted ceilings, with exposed beam, completely updated kitchen with granite countertops and commercial-grade appliances, 4 full bathrooms with modern fixtures, and professionally landscaped grounds, spanning 1.2 acres of pristine Austin Hill country property, reflected the kind of institutional technology support and strategic business management that enabled families to transition from apartment living and rental dependency to luxury homeownership within exclusive communities that required both financial credentials and stable business positioning. The home's location in the prestigious Westlake Hills area, where property values averaged $890,000, and neighborhood residents included technology entrepreneurs, medical professionals, and established Texas families, whose business ownership extended back multiple generations, represented the culmination of strategic technology planning that began when I first established our family industrial investment structures in. The property itself had been acquired through a complex financing arrangement that involved coordinated lending from 4 different regional banking institutions, optimized tax planning through business trust vehicles, and regulatory compliance with Texas business planning statutes that required extensive legal documentation and ongoing administrative oversight throughout the property ownership and business development process. Marcus's precision machining business, Rodriguez Advanced Manufacturing, operated from a 6,800 square foot industrial facility in Austin's Cedar Park Technology Corridor, which had been strategically selected and leased through my professional technology network at below market rates that saved his business operation over $4,000. His business model focused on aerospace precision components, medical device manufacturing, and automotive parts production that served Austin's growing technology sector, with manufacturing capabilities ranging from prototype development and precision machining to complex assembly work, quality control testing that required sophisticated equipment and specialized technical expertise that distinguished his operation from standard machine shops throughout the Austin metropolitan area. The success of Rodriguez Advanced Manufacturing reflected not only Marcus's mechanical engineering training from the University of Texas and his advanced certifications and precision manufacturing, but also the comprehensive business backing and institutional support that had been carefully orchestrated through my industrial technology relationships over multiple years. His ability to secure equipment, financing at preferential rates, navigate complex regulatory approval processes for precision manufacturing operations, and maintain the substantial technology financing required for CNC machines, coordinate measuring machine, and specialized tooling, all depended on the kind of institutional credibility and technology relationships that I had cultivated throughout my Chicago career at Meridian Industrial Solutions. Marcus's lifestyle reflected the financial freedom and professional positioning that distinguished successful Texas manufacturing entrepreneurs from those who struggled with equipment, lease payments, and regulatory complications. His collection of personal vehicles, including a 2023 Ford F-250 Super Crew for business use, a 2022 Chevrolet Corvette that he had customized for weekend track events, and Sarah's 2023 Tesla Model Y, represented over $180,000, and automotive assets that most precision machining business owners couldn't afford without compromising their equipment, financing capabilities, or accumulating personal debt that could affect their industrial credibility and banking relationships with technology financing companies throughout the Southwest manufacturing region. The monthly expenses associated with maintaining the Rodriguez family lifestyle, including the home's property taxes exceeding $100, insurance premiums for both residential and commercial properties, household utilities and maintenance, private healthcare premiums for Marcus's family and his employees, and membership fees at the exclusive Austin Country Club, where Marcus networked with potential aerospace customers, created financial obligations that exceeded $800 monthly and required the kind of consistent cash flow and credit access that most precision manufacturing business owners found challenging to maintain during economic uncertainty or seasonal business fluctuations that could affect aerospace manufacturing demand and automotive component orders. But what Marcus completely failed to understand was that his comfortable upper-middle-class lifestyle, business success, and professional positioning weren't the natural result of superior precision manufacturing capabilities or exceptional business management acumen. They were the direct result of institutional technology support and equipment coordination that I had been orchestrating through my professional network and private automation relationships throughout his entire adult business development experience. The seamless financing experiences that he considered evidence of his engineering expertise were actually carefully coordinated support systems that required sophisticated institutional relationships and continuous coordination between multiple technology organizations and regulatory agencies throughout Texas and the broader Southwest manufacturing region. The Hendricks Family Technology Trust, which I had established during the early years of my career at Meridian Industrial Solutions, operated with industrial assets valued at $67.8 million, dedicated to supporting promising family members who demonstrated both professional potential and character integrity that aligned with our family's values of hard work, community contribution, and respectful treatment of all family members regardless of age or circumstance. The Trust's mission statement emphasized the importance of creating opportunities for younger generations to focus on their professional development and family responsibilities, rather than equipment acquisition struggle, to enabling the next generation of successful manufacturing families to develop the stability and prosperity necessary for community leadership and authentic family excellence throughout Texas industrial community. The beneficiary selection process that had identified Marcus as a trust recipient 4 years earlier had been based on his mechanical engineering education, precision manufacturing business development potential, and character assessment evaluations that measured his commitment to family values and community contribution throughout the Austin area. The comprehensive evaluation that qualified him for institutional technology support included recommendations from professional colleagues at the aerospace manufacturing facility, where he had worked as a senior machinist before starting his own precision business, community service documentation from his volunteer work with youth engineering education programs at local high school, and personal statements that demonstrated his understanding of family responsibility and his commitment to maintaining the Rodriguez family tradition of professional excellence and community leadership that honored both Mexican-American heritage and American manufacturing. But perhaps most importantly, the Trust's beneficiary requirements included ongoing character assessment and demonstration of values that aligned with the Trust's mission of creating family members who understood both technology responsibility and family respect. The industrial coordination agreement that Marcus had signed, though he had never fully understood the true source of his equipment advantages, included specific provisions about maintaining character standards and demonstrating respect for family relationships and elderly family members that distinguished beneficiaries from those who prioritized personal advancement over family loyalty, and traditional values that honored generational wisdom and engineering experience. The Trust's monitoring protocols included annual reviews of beneficiary professional progress, character development assessment, and evaluation of how Trust recipients treated family relationships and elderly family members throughout their business development and personal life management. Comprehensive evaluation process that determined continued technology eligibility wasn't limited to business achievement. It included assessment of whether beneficiaries maintained the kind of character and values that justified continued investment in their equipment maintenance and professional development support throughout their business ownership experience and family relationship management. Marcus's precision manufacturing business success and Austin positioning had always met the Trust's professional standard, but the character assessment component of his beneficiary status had never been formally tested because family relationships and elderly respect hadn't been challenged during his intensive business development focus over the past 4 years. The Trust's protocols included specific provisions for character review when beneficiaries demonstrated behavior that conflicted with the values of family service and elderly respect
that the trust considered essential for ethical technology eligibility and continued equipment support throughout family business ownership and industrial development coordination. The workshop shed that had become the center of this family controversy wasn't just a backyard building, it was a 2,400 square foot state-of-the-art engineering facility that I had designed and constructed as my private research and development center. The building featured climate-controlled environments for precision work, industrial-grade electrical systems capable of powering advanced manufacturing equipment, specialized ventilation systems for metalworking and chemical process, and a comprehensive workshop setup that included CNC machining capabilities, 3D printing stations, materials testing equipment, and prototype development resources that represent zero-end professional-grade engineering infrastructure that exceeded the capabilities available at most university research facilities. The shed's exterior appeared deceptively modest, a well-maintained but unremarkable building that blended seamlessly with our suburban neighborhoods, aesthetic standards, and local homeowner association requirements. The cedar siding and traditional roofline concealed the sophisticated interior, while the landscaping and architectural details suggested a high-quality but conventional storage building rather than revealing the advanced engineering laboratory that operated within. But inside, the facility contained the kind of advanced engineering workspace that most Fortune 500 companies couldn't afford, equipped with precision measurement tools, computer-controlled manufacturing equipment, materials analysis system, and prototype development capabilities that enabled me to continue my industrial innovation work during retirement, while maintaining the privacy and security that distinguished legitimate engineering research from hobbyist activity. The interior layout had been meticulously planned to optimize workflow and maximize functionality within the available space. The main workshop area featured 12-foot ceilings that accommodated overhead crane systems for moving heavy equipment, with specialized lighting designed for precision work and color-accurate material inspection. The climate control system maintained temperature and humidity within precise specifications required for dimensional stability during precision machining operation, while the advanced air filtration system protected both the equipment and my health during metalworking and composite materials processing. The technology infrastructure included fiber optic internet connectivity that enabled real-time collaboration with engineering teams worldwide, secure computer networks that protected intellectual property and maintained client confidentiality, and specialized software systems that provided computer-aided design capabilities, finite element analysis, and manufacturing simulation tools that most engineering consulting firms couldn't afford to license. The electrical system featured three-phase power distribution that could support industrial equipment, uninterruptible power supplies that protected sensitive electronics, and dedicated circuits for high-power equipment that required clean electrical connections for optimal performance and precision operation. The equipment inventory included a precision CNC milling machine capable of maintaining tolerances, coordinate measuring machines that verified dimensional accuracy of manufactured components, materials testing equipment that evaluated mechanical properties, and chemical composition and additive manufacturing systems that enabled rapid prototyping of complex geometries and custom tooling solutions. The tool and materials storage systems maintained organization and accessibility, while protecting expensive precision instruments from environmental damage and unauthorized access that could compromise measurement accuracy and intellectual property security. Marcus Rodriguez had built his precision machining business around servicing aerospace components for companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and regional defense contractors, medical device manufacturing for Austin's growing biotechnology sector, and automotive precision parts that required tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch for performance racing applications and custom restoration projects. His success in securing contracts with major manufacturers throughout Texas and the Southwest had been celebrated by industry colleagues as evidence of his exceptional technical capabilities and business management expertise that demonstrated his understanding of precision manufacturing requirements and quality control standards that distinguished his operation from standard machine shops throughout the region. The comfortable lifestyle that Marcus maintained reflected his position as one of Austin's rising stars in precision manufacturing, with recognition from the Texas Manufacturing Association, featured coverage in Southwest Industrial Magazine, and speaking opportunities at regional manufacturing conferences that positioned him as an expert in aerospace precision machining and medical device component production. His business had achieved ISO 901 certification, AS9100 aerospace quality certification, and FDA medical device manufacturing compliance, that enabled him to compete for the most demanding contracts and work with customers who required the highest levels of quality assurance and regulatory compliance. But what Marcus completely failed to understand was that his manufacturing success and technological capabilities weren't the natural result of superior engineering skills or exceptional business management. They were the direct result of industrial technology support and equipment coordination that I had been orchestrating through my professional network and private automation relationships throughout his entire business development experience. The seamless equipment financing that he considered evidence of his business expertise were actually carefully coordinated support systems that required sophisticated institutional relationships and continuous coordination between multiple technology organizations and regulatory agencies throughout Texas and the broader Southwest manufacturing region.
Shed that Marcus and Amanda considered too good for my age would become the catalyst for demonstrating that respect for elderly engineers isn't optional courtesy. It's the foundation for continued access to the sophisticated technology infrastructure that make modern manufacturing possible in competitive environments that require both technical excellence and character integrity to navigate successfully throughout the business ownership and family relationship experience. What my family never understood during all those years of treating me like a simple retired engineer who needed help with basic smartphone features and modern manufacturing software was that their comfortable assumption about my limited technological capabilities revealed their complete ignorance of the industrial automation empire I had built throughout the North American manufacturing community, an empire that operated so seamlessly and efficiently that its very invisibility had become its greatest strength and my family's most dangerous vulnerability when it came to their continued equipment, access and business technology security. The modest ranch-style home where I had lived for 12 years in Austin's quiet Terrytown neighborhood, which Marcus and Amanda considered evidence of my limited financial success and outdated lifestyle choices, actually served as the primary coordination center for the Southwest Regional Manufacturing Technology Network, equipped with quantum-encrypted communication systems, dedicated fiber optic internet connections providing 25 gigabit symmetrical speeds, and institutional technology management infrastructure that maintained 24/7 connectivity with industrial development institutions throughout 34 states, and enabled immediate response to manufacturing emergencies that could affect billions of dollars in family business wealth and institutional equipment coordination activity across multiple time zones and regulatory jurisdictions throughout North America, Europe, and selected Asia-Pacific manufacturing markets. My living room, which appeared to casual visitors as a comfortable retirement space with traditional furniture, family photographs from Sarah's childhood, and modest decorative elements that suggested limited financial resources, contained sophisticated industrial database systems and institutional technology management hardware that provided direct access to the primary servers at Meridian Industrial Solutions, backup communication protocols for emergency equipment, coordination during market volatility, and secure connections to federal manufacturing databases that required the highest levels of security clearance and professional authentication to access and maintain throughout the global industrial development community and international manufacturing coordination network. The technology setup that I had installed throughout my home represented over $2.8 million in specialized equipment and software licensing that enabled me to coordinate institutional manufacturing activities across 8 southwestern states, respond to family business emergencies within minutes rather than the typical days or weeks required through traditional equipment management channels, and maintain the private technology infrastructure that supported dozens of Texas families' most important manufacturing management goals throughout Travis County, Harris County, Dallas County, and selected premium industrial areas in New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arizona, Colorado, and Arkansas. The multiple holographic displays that lined my home office walls showed real-time status information from equipment databases across 34 states, automated alert systems that notified me of regulatory changes or compliance issues requiring immediate attention, coordination interfaces that allowed me to communicate instantly with technology professionals, federal manufacturing officials, and industrial administrators throughout the regional technology development network. But beyond the physical infrastructure that supported my institutional manufacturing coordination responsibility, what made my home-based operations particularly powerful was the comprehensive network of professional relationships and federal coordination protocols that I had developed throughout my 46-year career in technology development and institutional industrial administration. The daily video conferences that my family occasionally overheard during their visits weren't social conversations with retired colleagues discussing grandchildren and retirement activities. They were strategic consultations with federal manufacturing administrators about regional development policy, crisis coordination with regulatory development officials during market emergencies, and technical support for industrial development institutions that processed billions of dollars in daily equipment distribution throughout North America and selected international markets. The Hendricks Institute for Manufacturing Excellence, which I had established during the final years of my career at Meridian Industrial Solutions, had become the most respected private industrial training program in the Southwest, providing advanced education for institutional equipment coordinators, federal compliance officials, and private manufacturing professionals who needed expertise in multi-institution technology integration, regulatory protocol implement, and crisis response coordination that maintained family business stability during market emergencies and institutional industrial complications that could affect thousands of families simultaneously across multiple states and manufacturing development jurisdictions. Our institute accepted only 6 participants annually through an application process more competitive than federal manufacturing agency positions, requiring extensive experience in industrial development, institutional technology administrations, or family business coordination before candidates qualified for consideration through our rigorous screening process. The program fee, $1,000, reflected both the specialized nature of our training and the career advancement opportunities that graduation provided for manufacturing professionals seeking leadership positions in federal agencies, institutional industrial administration, or private technology organizations throughout the Southwest and the broader Western manufacturing development region. The waiting list for admission to the Hendricks Institute extended over 5 years with applications from senior technology development professionals at major industrial firms throughout Austin, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Denver, and Albuquerque. Federal manufacturing officials seeking advanced institutional technology training that wasn't available through traditional government education program, and industrial administrators responsible for regulatory coordination and compliance oversight throughout multiple international jurisdictions and cross-border manufacturing development initiatives. We regularly declined applications from Wall Street technology investment executives who lacked the specialized knowledge of family business systems and federal regulatory compliance that distinguished our program from general industrial education and basic technology development training that focused on profit maximization rather than community manufacturing stability. What made our program unique wasn't just the technical training quality, it was the federal coordination experience and professional networking opportunities that came with graduation from the most respected institutional manufacturing program in North American industrial administration. Hendricks Institute graduates received automatic consideration for federal technology positions that never advertised openings publicly, gained access to our network of private manufacturing professionals and federal regulatory officials throughout the Southwest and beyond, and could leverage our consultation services to build careers in institutional industrial management that would be impossible to achieve through traditional university education and standard technology development advancement that didn't include the sophisticated regulatory knowledge and federal coordination expertise that our program provided. The advanced curriculum that we provided included hands-on training in federal manufacturing integration protocols that synchronized local technology development with national industrial policy, emergency response coordination during private equipment market crises that could affect thousands of families, multi-institution technology coordination that enabled seamless business transitions across state boundary, family business database management that protected privacy while maintaining regulatory compliance implementation that protected family equipment rights while maintaining manufacturing access and federal monitoring capabilities that balanced individual rights with community industrial stability requirements. Our graduates managed private manufacturing databases for federal agencies throughout the Southwest, coordinated institutional technology operations for major metropolitan areas including Austin, Houston, Dallas, Phoenix, Denver, and Albuquerque, and supervised equipment coordination operation for industrial institutions that handled trillions of dollars in annual family business assets throughout the western United States, and selected international manufacturing development markets that required sophisticated regulatory coordination and federal compliance oversight. But perhaps the most significant aspect of the Hendricks Institute was our role in developing and implementing the next generation of private manufacturing protocols that would determine how institutional technology was managed, secured, and coordinated between private equipment, organizations, and federal industrial databases throughout the 21st century. The graduates from our program were leading technical innovation at organizations like the Department of Commerce's Manufacturing Technology Division, the Small Business Administration's Technology Development Office, the American Manufacturing Association, and major institutional industrial systems, implementing compliance protocols for federal agencies and coordinating private equipment management for state industrial systems throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, and selected international manufacturing programs that required sophisticated regulatory coordination. The professional relationships that had developed through our institute included direct connections with senior executives at every major technology development firm throughout the Southwest, federal manufacturing officials responsible for regional institutional industrial coordination throughout the western United States, and private technology professionals who managed equipment, systems, for federal governments, regulatory agencies, and institutional manufacturing development department throughout North America, Europe, and selected emerging market technology programs that required advanced regulatory coordination and federal compliance oversight capabilities. My daily routine, which my family observed during their infrequent visits and considered evidence of simple retirement activities and limited social engagement, typical of elderly engineers living on fixed income, actually included coordinating institutional manufacturing operations that affected over 6.8 million private technology records throughout the Southwest and the broader Western regions, supervising emergency response protocols for market failures that could disrupt family businesses throughout multiple states and international manufacturing, and providing technical consultation for federal officials who relied on accurate regional data for regulatory analysis and private equipment allocation coordination that influenced national industrial policy development. The morning schedule that began each day at 4:30 a.m. included reviewing overnight system alerts from technology databases across 34 states, analyzing automated error reports that identified potential compliance issues or equipment coordination integrity problems requiring immediate attention, coordinating with federal manufacturing databases that synchronized with our regional systems during off-peak hours to maintain optimal performance, and implementing system updates that maintained compliance protocols and improved database performance for millions of family business records and institutional technology transactions
that processed continuously throughout the Western Manufacturing Development Network. The afternoon coordination activities included supervising equipment integration between private technology exchanges and federal agencies throughout the Southwest, troubleshooting system errors that affected institutional industrial allocation, visibility, and family business application processing that could delay manufacturing assistance for families in need, coordinating with federal officials who needed accurate regional data for policy analysis, and private equipment coordination that influenced national industrial development initiative, and managing crisis response protocols during market volatility that required immediate coordination between multiple federal agencies and private institutional technology organizations throughout the regional development network. The evening consultation work included providing technical guidance for private manufacturing professionals who encountered equipment errors or system integration problems that could affect family business access, coordinating with international firms that implemented our protocols for institutional technology management systems in other countries throughout Europe, Asia-Pacific regions, and Latin America, and conducting strategic planning with federal officials who relied on our expertise for national manufacturing database modernization and compliance enhancement initiatives that would improve industrial access and regulatory efficiency throughout the United States and selected international markets. But beyond the technical coordination responsibilities that occupied most of my daily schedule throughout the week, what made my institutional manufacturing expertise particularly valuable was my comprehensive understanding of how private technology systems affected individual families and communities throughout the Southwest, the broader Western United States, and selected areas of Canada and Mexico where our coordination protocols had been implemented successfully. Every family who received timely private equipment distributions, every business owner who operated efficiently within regulatory framework, every manufacturing grant that reached appropriate recipients, and every emergency industrial response that coordinated effectively represented the successful implementation of systems and protocols that I had spent decades developing, refined, and maintaining through continuous professional development and regulatory coordination. The Meridian Industrial Solutions, where I had spent my entire career, wasn't just a regional institutional technology contractor, it was the exclusive provider of coordination services for the Department of Commerce Western Regional Integration Network, coordinating family institutional equipment funding for over 2,400 federal manufacturing jurisdictions, aiding 7 major metropolitan industrial areas, and managing technology integration with 340 different private equipment exchanges across 15 states throughout the western and southwestern region. Our systems processed over $28.9 billion in annual institutional technology transactions, coordinated family manufacturing development for over 1,240 different firms and industrial organizations, and maintained the infrastructure that enabled platforms like federal manufacturing, private family business trusts, and institutional technology networks to provide effective private equipment management and family industrial coordination for thousands of southwestern and western families seeking stable manufacturing solutions. The scope of our institutional technology management operations required coordination with the Department of Commerce for private manufacturing compliance and audit support throughout the regional network, the Small Business Administration for institutional equipment program integration that ensured seamless coordination between federal and private industrial initiatives, the Internal Revenue Service for Family Business Program compliance verification that protected both individual privacy rights and federal oversight requirements, the Securities and Exchange Commission for Technology Coordination and Regulatory Oversight that maintained market stability, and the Department of Homeland Security for Family Manufacturing verification and security monitoring that supported both individual privacy protection and national security requirements throughout the regional technology development network.
My security clearance level required annual background investigations, conducted by federal security agencies, comprehensive financial audits that verified the integrity of my technology management operation, psychological evaluations that confirmed my continued reliability and professional competency assessments that ensured only the most qualified and trustworthy institutional manufacturing professionals maintained access to systems that could affect national industrial programs, regional family stability, and federal private technology policy development that influenced equipment access for millions of American families throughout multiple states and jurisdictions. The clearance process included polygraph examinations conducted by federal security professionals, extensive interviews with professional colleagues and federal officials who could verify my character and professional competence, and continuous monitoring that verified my continued reliability and commitment to maintaining the highest standards of professional integrity and system security throughout my ongoing coordination responsibility. The technical innovations that I had developed during my career included automated integration protocols that synchronized private technology data between institutional manufacturing databases and federal industrial systems throughout the regional network, compliance algorithms that protected family privacy while maintaining institutional equipment accessibility and regulatory oversight, error detection systems that identified manufacturing irregularities before they affected family business access or industrial stability, and crisis response protocols that maintained system stability during equipment failures or cybersecurity incidents that could affect millions of family business records and trillions of dollars in institutional technology activity. These innovations had been adopted by technology development firms throughout the Southwest and the broader Western region, implemented by federal agencies for National Manufacturing Database Modernization Initiative, and licensed to international institutional industrial organizations that wanted to implement similar integration systems and compliance protocols for family business management in European Union countries, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, and Pacific Rim nations, seeking to modernize their industrial systems and improve coordination between government agencies and private institutional technology organizations that served millions of families seeking stable manufacturing solutions. The consulting contracts that I had negotiated with federal agencies included ongoing technical support for manufacturing database modernization projects that would improve efficiency and reduce emergency response coordination during system failures that affected multiple states and could disrupt industrial access for thousands of families, compliance assessment and enhancement for federal private technology databases that ensured regulatory requirements were met while protecting individual privacy rights, and strategic planning for next-generation institutional manufacturing technology that would improve system integration, reduce equipment management costs, while maintaining accuracy and security standards that protected both individual family privacy and federal industrial monitoring capabilities throughout the National Technology Development Network. But perhaps the most significant aspect of my manufacturing and administration authority was my role in determining which families received priority processing and optimal equipment visibility throughout the Southwest Regional Family Private Technology Network that served thousands of families seeking stable industrial solutions. The integration protocols that I had designed included automated quality assessment algorithms that evaluated institutional equipment applications for appropriateness and completeness, determined manufacturing positioning based on family need and character status that balanced individual requirements with community industrial stability, and implemented enhanced allocation protocols for families who met the highest standards for community impact and character potential that contributed to neighborhood stability and business value maintenance. This meant that families associated with my personal relatives
had always received the most favorable institutional technology treatment possible throughout their manufacturing experience, priority processing for equipment coordination that reduced waiting times from months to days, enhanced distribution visibility that attracted maximum financial benefit, and optimal lending terms, expedited application coordination that reduced approval timeframes, and eliminated common administrative delays, and automated compliance verification that prevented administrative problems from affecting their private technology access or industrial status throughout their business ownership experience. The seamless manufacturing experiences that Marcus and Sarah had always enjoyed weren't natural consequences of precision machining excellence or superior financial management. They were the direct result of institutional equipment preferences and technical advantages that I had been providing through my coordination authority and system access throughout their entire business ownership and national development experience. Marcus's comfortable life, operating his precision manufacturing facility, had benefited from perfect institutional technology services, coordination that ensured optimal financing terms, seamless private equipment processing that eliminated common delays and complications, and enhanced technology allocation that attracted maximum investment support and regulatory advantage, because I had personally implemented distribution protocols that ensured optimal manufacturing, visibility, and financial accuracy throughout his business ownership experience. The smooth regulatory approval processes that had helped him during his transition from employee machinist to business owner 4 years ago had benefited from expedited verification and automated compliance checking that reduced approval timeframes and prevented common administrative delays that affected institutional technology applications throughout the Texas manufacturing. The comprehensive private technology services that enabled his Austin business lifestyle reflected equipment coordination that I had maintained between institutional manufacturing systems and federal industrial databases, preventing the service gaps and administrative complications that could have significantly affected his access to technology development and equipment support throughout his business ownership experience. The excellent technology rates that supported his lifestyle maintenance, the emergency institutional equipment programs that provided additional support during business fluctuations, and the private manufacturing infrastructure that supported his family business ownership, all depended on institutional technology coordination and equipment management that required exactly the kind of technical expertise and federal coordination that I had been providing throughout my entire career at Meridian Industrial Solutions. Marcus Daniel Rodriguez presented himself to his professional colleagues and Austin business community as a self-made Texas success story, the ambitious son-in-law of a retired technology professional who had earned his way into business ownership through precision manufacturing excellence and financial responsibility that demonstrated his commitment to community stability and family prosperity. His carefully constructed narrative, individual achievement, and personal equipment management reflected the kind of bootstrap mythology that resonated with his business colleagues and industrial neighbors who admired his apparent financial independence and business stability that seemed to demonstrate the American dream of ownership through hard work and manufacturing success. The story that Marcus told about his business ownership journey emphasized his professional achievements at Rodriguez Advanced Manufacturing, where he had advanced from employee machinist to business owner while maintaining consistently high customer satisfaction ratings and contributing to Texas manufacturing service excellence through innovative precision techniques and customer service that distinguished his business from competitors throughout the Austin area. His facility acquisition had been celebrated by colleagues and friends as evidence of his exceptional career advancement and dedication to family financial excellence that demonstrated his commitment to community stability and business ownership responsibility. During his business ownership experience, Marcus had distinguished himself through facility improvements that earned recognition from industrial associations throughout the Austin metropolitan area, community involvement that demonstrated his commitment to local development and civic responsibility and financial management, that positioned his family as models of Texas business success, that inspired other young families seeking equipment ownership and manufacturing development. His technology projects had included smart factory implementation, energy efficiency upgrades, and automation and improvements that increased facility value and operational appeal, while showcasing his technical expertise and commitment to equipment maintenance excellence. The Texas achievements that Marcus proudly displayed throughout his facility framed manufacturing industry awards, community recognition certificates from the Austin Chamber of Commerce, and family accomplishment photographs that documented his progression from employee to business owner. The story of a dedicated family man who had earned every opportunity through professional rigor and financial responsibility, that demonstrated his worthiness for equipment ownership and community respect. His precision manufacturing success, community leadership, roles in local business associations, and family development recognitions created a comprehensive picture of Texas achievement that justified his confident approach to family financial planning and community engagement throughout the Austin area. But what Marcus's carefully curated success narrative completely omitted was any acknowledgement of the institutional technology support system that had made his business ownership achievements possible throughout his adult life. The private manufacturing development that had covered his down payment through favorable loan terms that most precision machining business owners couldn't access, the regulatory coordination that had enabled him to qualify for premium financial terms, despite having limited credit history as a young business owner, and the emergency institutional technology assistance that had provided stability during unexpected equipment expenses and seasonal fluctuations, all remained invisible in his personal story of individual achievement and family financial responsibility that he shared with colleagues and neighbors.
The lifestyle that Marcus maintained in his Austin neighborhood reflected financial freedom that distinguished him from his professional peers who struggled with equipment debt exceeding $680,000. Worked additional consulting projects to supplement their precision manufacturing income, and managed tight business budgets to afford Texas industrial operating expenses that continued increasing due to regulatory compliance costs and utility expenses. Marcus's ability to maintain premium facility improvements, pursue expensive technology upgrades and equipment purchases, and invest in lifestyle enhancements without financial pressure created a comfortable buffer that enabled him to excel professionally while his colleagues balanced career demands with economic constraints that limited their family activities and equipment maintenance capabilities. The confident Marcus displayed in professional and community settings reflected his comfortable assumption that his lifestyle and opportunities were the natural result of his manufacturing career achievements and financial capabilities, rather than institutional technology support that had operated invisibly throughout his adult life. His interactions with precision manufacturing colleagues, neighborhood business leaders, and community organization members demonstrated the self-assurance of someone who had never experienced serious financial insecurity or questioned the stability of his institutional equipment support system that enabled his comfortable business lifestyle and manufacturing ownership success. But perhaps the most revealing aspect of Marcus's character was his complete lack of curiosity about the financial mechanisms that supported his comfortable lifestyle throughout his business ownership and professional development experience. The private technology distributions that arrived without application processes, the regulatory approvals that processed without personal financial management complications, and the emergency institutional equipment assistance that appeared during unexpected facility expenses and technology failures never prompted questions about the source or sustainability of his manufacturing support system that enabled his comfortable assumptions about equipment ownership and financial independence. The attitude that Marcus had developed toward family relationships reflected his comfortable assumption that his success was entirely self-generated, and that elderly relatives represented obligations that interfered with his professional advancement rather than potential sources of wisdom or connection that could enhance his business development and family planning. His approach to family gatherings, holiday visits, and elderly care responsibilities demonstrated the kind of calculated relationship management that prioritized professional networking and business development over traditional family values and generational respect that honored elderly experience and wisdom. Sometimes the most dangerous assumption you can make about institutional technology coordination and private manufacturing management is that they represent permanent entitlements that continue automatically regardless of character development and family relationship management that demonstrates respect for elderly relatives and traditional family values. The elderly relatives who Marcus dismissed as outdated obligations included the very person whose private technology expertise and institutional manufacturing authority had created every equipment opportunity and lifestyle advantage that he considered evidence of his individual achievement and business success in competitive Texas industrial environments that required both professional excellence and character integrity to navigate successfully throughout the equipment ownership experience. The institutional manufacturing infrastructure that had operated invisibly throughout Marcus's comfortable assumptions about his business independence would soon become the most visible lesson of his life about the true meaning of private technology ownership and the critical importance of treating elderly relatives with the respect and appreciation that their lifetime of professional service and generous support deserved rather than dismissing them as outdated inconveniences during business expansion activities and lifestyle advancement that prioritized individual achievement over authentic family relationships and traditional values that honor generational wisdom and engineering experience throughout the family business ownership journey. March 22, 2024, began as what should have been a routine return from my quarterly coordination meeting with federal oversight officials at the International Manufacturing Technology Council in Chicago. A simple homecoming that would expose the true character of the son-in-law, whose comfortable business lifestyle I had been secretly funding for 4 years, and trigger the most comprehensive demonstration of institutional technology authority that the Southwest manufacturing community had ever witnessed. The flight from O'Hare International Airport to Austin Bergstrom International Airport took exactly 2 hours and 47 minutes, giving me time to review the quarterly compliance reports and federal coordination updates that would determine technology allocation priorities for thousands of manufacturing families throughout the western United States over the next 3 months. My first-class seat provided the privacy needed for secure communication with my technology coordination team while reviewing sensitive federal manufacturing data that influenced billions of dollars in equipment distribution and family business support throughout the regional industrial development network. The Uber ride from the airport to my Terrytown home took 23 minutes through Austin's afternoon traffic, passing the thriving technology corridors and manufacturing districts whose regulatory frameworks I had helped establish during my years coordinating regional private technology policy with Texas State Industrial Authority. My arrival at the modest ranch house at 4:15 p.m. was precisely on schedule for the family dinner planning that Sarah had mentioned during our phone conversation the previous Monday, when she had excitedly described Marcus's latest business achievements and their plans for expanding their family's weekend traditions to include more frequent visits with me. When I opened the front door using my security key at 4:17 p.m., carrying my briefcase, and looking forward to hearing about Marcus's recent contract successes with aerospace manufacturers, I expected the usual warm greeting that had characterized our family visits for over 3 years. Instead, what I encountered would become the defining moment that revealed Marcus and Amanda's true character and triggered the most expensive lesson about family respect and elderly appreciation that any manufacturing business owner had ever received in Texas institutional technology history. The immediate atmosphere in the house felt different from our typical relaxed family gathering. Instead of the comfortable family clothing and casual weekend ambience that usually marked these occasions, I noticed an unusual formality in the way Sarah greeted me at the door, with carefully measured language that suggested she had been prepared for this conversation. The dining room table was set for what appeared to be a business meeting rather than a family dinner, with formal place settings and an obvious absence of the children's artwork and family photos that typically decorated our gathering space. "Hi, Mom," Sarah said with an expression that mixed genuine affection with obvious nervousness about something she needed to discuss. "How was your flight from Chicago? Marcus and Amanda are in the backyard looking at your workshop shed, and they wanted to talk with you about something important when you got settled. They've been doing some research on property values and neighborhood standards that they think you'll find really interesting and helpful for your retirement planning." The mention of Marcus and Amanda doing research on my workshop shed immediately indicated that this conversation would involve unsolicited advice about my personal property management and lifestyle choice. The phrase "helpful for your retirement planning" suggested that they had been making assumptions about my financial circumstances and decision-making capabilities based on my age, rather than my actual expertise and professional background that they had never bothered to understand or investigate. "That sounds very thoughtful of them," I replied while maintaining the pleasant family tone that had always characterized our interactions and setting down my briefcase in the entryway. "I'd be interested to hear what research they've been conducting and what insights they've developed about neighborhood property standards. Let me get settled and we can discuss whatever they've discovered." Through the sliding glass doors that led to the backyard, I could see Marcus and Amanda standing near my workshop shed, gesturing toward the building and engaging in what appeared to be an animated discussion about its features and appropriateness. Marcus was pointing at various aspects of the structure while Amanda nodded enthusiastic, both displaying the kind of confident body language that suggested they had reached definitive conclusions about my property management and were preparing to share their expertise with someone they considered less informed about contemporary property standards and neighborhood expectations. The workshop shed that had captured their attention stood exactly as I had designed it, a professionally constructed 2,400 square foot building that maintained the aesthetic standards of our neighborhood while concealing the sophisticated engineering laboratory within. The cedar siding and traditional roofline blended seamlessly with the surrounding residential architecture, while the landscaping and exterior details suggested a high-quality but conventional storage building, rather than revealing the advanced manufacturing facility that operated inside under the highest levels of security and regulatory compliance. Marcus appeared through the sliding door at 4:25 p.m. with Amanda close behind, both displaying expressions of professional confidence that indicated they had prepared for this conversation and were comfortable with their assessment of my property situation. Marcus's expensive casual clothing and Amanda's carefully coordinated outfit suggested they had dressed for what they considered an important family discussion about property management and retirement lifestyle optimization. Marcus announced with the kind of enthusiastic efficiency he typically reserved for presenting business proposals to potential clients, rather than family conversations. "Perfect time. Amanda and I have been doing some really comprehensive research on neighborhood property values and aesthetic standards that I think you're going to find incredibly useful for your retirement planning and property optimization strategy." The immediate use of my first name rather than the respectful Mom or Patricia that had characterized our family interactions suggested that Marcus was approaching this conversation as a professional consultation rather than a family discussion. His reference to comprehensive research implied that he and Amanda had been investigating my property management without my knowledge or permission, while the phrase "incredibly useful for your retirement planning" revealed their assumption that I needed guidance about financial and property decisions that they were more qualified to make. "That sounds very interesting, Marcus," I replied while observing both their body language and the calculated way they had positioned themselves near the sliding door, effectively blocking easy access to my workshop shed. "What specific research have you and Amanda been conducting, and what conclusions have you reached about neighborhood standards and property optimization? Amanda stepped forward with the kind of professional presentation enthusiasm that characterized her community organization meetings, displaying a tablet computer that apparently contained documentation of their property assessment activities. Well, Patricia, we've been analyzing comparable properties throughout the Terrytown neighborhood, researching homeowner association guidelines, and consulting with local real estate professionals about appropriate property improvements and aesthetic considerations for residents in different life stages. The phrase residents in different life stages represented the first indication that their research had been specifically focused on age-appropriate property management rather than general neighborhood standards. Amanda's reference to consulting with local real estate professionals suggested that they had been discussing my property situation with outside parties without my knowledge, while her presentation of documentation on a tablet indicated that they had prepared formal recommendations for my property management decision. The thing is, Patricia, Marcus continued with growing confidence about his property assessment expertise, we've discovered some really important information about neighborhood aesthetic standards and property value optimization that directly affects your workshop shed situation. What we found is that the current building represents a significant overcapitalization for this neighborhood demographic, and more importantly, it doesn't align with appropriate property improvements for someone in your retirement phase. The term overcapitalization revealed that Marcus had been evaluating my workshop shed through a financial investment lens rather than understanding its function as a professional engineering facility. His reference to appropriate property improvements for someone in your retirement phase indicated that his assessment was based on age-related assumptions about my capabilities and needs, rather than accurate information about my continued professional activities and technical requirements. The most significant moment in our conversation came when Amanda delivered the specific recommendation that would become the documented evidence of character priorities that justified implementing the most comprehensive institutional technology ownership reconsideration in Texas manufacturing history. The bottom line, Patricia, Amanda announced with confident authority that reflected months of strategic thinking about elderly property management, is that your workshop shed is simply way too fancy for someone your age. The neighborhood research shows that residents in your demographic typically maintain much simpler storage solutions, and frankly, the current building suggests lifestyle expectations that aren't realistic for your retirement circumstances. You should really consider downsizing to something more appropriate for a retired person who doesn't actually need all that sophisticated workshop space. The phrase way too fancy for someone your age represented the exact moment when Amanda's systematic elderly dismissal transformed from misguided family advice into documented evidence of character priorities that violated every provision of the Hendricks Family Technology Trust's beneficiary conduct requirements and family respect standards. Her confident assertion that I didn't actually need sophisticated workshop space revealed the complete extent of her elderly marginalization strategy and her fundamental disregard for the professional expertise and continued technical activities that had created every advantage their family enjoyed. Marcus nodded enthusiastically in agreement with Amanda's assessment, adding his own professional validation to their property management recommendation. The research clearly shows that Patricia could optimize her property value and reduce maintenance obligations by replacing the current building with something more suitable for basic storage needs. We've identified several prefabricated shed options that would be much more appropriate for someone in retirement who doesn't need advanced workshop capability. The casual dismissal of my advanced workshop capabilities revealed Marcus's complete ignorance of the engineering activities that continued to generate millions of dollars in annual licensing revenue and support his own business through institutional technology coordination. His comfortable assumption that retirement automatically eliminated the need for professional workspace
demonstrated the kind of ageist's thinking that justified implementing comprehensive technology review protocols and business eligibility reconsideration. We've even taken the liberty of researching replacement options, Amanda continued with growing enthusiasm about their property management solution. There are several companies that specialize in age-appropriate storage buildings that would be much more practical for your actual needs. The current workshop is honestly just wasted space that you're never going to use effectively, and it's creating maintenance obligations that are inappropriate for someone your age to manage. The phrase age-appropriate storage buildings represented the culmination of their systematic assessment of my property needs, based entirely on demographic assumptions, rather than actual understanding of my professional activities or technical requirements. Amanda's assertion that my workshop represented wasted space that I would never use effectively revealed the depth of their elderly dismissal and their complete failure to recognize the advanced engineering work that continued to operate from the facility they considered excessive for my demographic. As I stood in my own living room, listening to my son-in-law and his wife explain why my state-of-the-art engineering laboratory was too fancy for someone my age and should be replaced with age-appropriate storage because I didn't actually need advanced workshop capabilities, I experienced the devastating reality of elderly dismissal and systematic family condescension that would justify implementing institutional technology ownership consequences and trust reconsideration protocols that would fundamentally alter their comfortable assumptions about equipment financing and business support accessibility. I understand your position completely, Marcus and Amanda, I replied with the kind of professional composure I had developed during 46 years of managing institutional technology crises and trust administration challenges. Thank you for sharing your research findings and property management recommendations. I appreciate the time and effort you've invested in analyzing my workshop situation, and I'll certainly give your suggestions the consideration they deserve. The relief that appeared on both their faces revealed their comfortable assumption that elderly relatives would accept property management advice without consequences that might affect the family's lifestyle arrangements and business stability. Their professional confidence in their research presentation had convinced them that elderly property management could be optimized through efficient consultation without considering the potential implications for continued trust support and institutional technology ownership benefits. I'm so glad you're being open-minded about this, Patricia, Amanda continued with renewed enthusiasm about their property optimization achievement. We were worried you might be emotionally attached to the workshop because it's such an impressive building, but we knew that once you understood the practical benefits of downsizing, you'd see the wisdom in making age-appropriate property adjustments. The condescending language about my potential emotional attachment to the workshop revealed Amanda's assumption that my objections to their recommendations would be based on sentiment rather than practical considerations or professional requirements. Her reference to age-appropriate property adjustments demonstrated the systematic nature of their elderly property management philosophy and their comfortable confidence in making decisions about my lifestyle and professional needs. Marcus added his own validation to their successful family property consultation. Exactly, and the financial benefits of downsizing will be significant too. The maintenance savings alone will probably cover your monthly expenses for years, and you'll have a much simpler property management situation that's more suitable for retirement lifestyle maintenance. The assumption that I needed financial benefits from property downsizing revealed Marcus's complete ignorance of my actual financial circumstances and the millions of dollars in annual revenue generated through my continued professional activity. His reference to simpler property management that was more suitable for retirement demonstrated his systematic elderly marginalization and his comfortable assumption that advanced age automatically indicated reduced capabilities and simplified needs. We're also thinking about the safety aspects, Amanda continued with growing confidence about their comprehensive property assessment. That workshop building is probably more than you can safely maintain at your age, and some of the equipment inside could be dangerous for someone who isn't actively using industrial tools on a regular basis. A simpler storage solution would eliminate those safety concerns and give everyone peace of mind about your well-being. The reference to safety concerns about my ability to maintain and operate professional equipment represented the final element of their systematic elderly dismissal strategy. Amanda's assumption that I wasn't actively using industrial tools revealed the complete extent of their ignorance about my continued professional activity, while her assertion that the equipment could be dangerous for someone my age demonstrated the kind of age-based capability assessment that justified implementing comprehensive institutional technology review and business support reconsideration. The irony of receiving safety and financial advice from family members whose entire business lifestyle depended on the institutional technology support and professional expertise they were systematically dismissing was not lost on me during that March afternoon. The comfortable assumptions about my reduced capabilities and simplified needs that guided their property management recommendations represented exactly the kind of character evidence that triggered trust beneficiary review protocols and technology coordination assessment that could transform expected support into accountability evaluation and character development requirements. But perhaps the most devastating aspect of their presentation was the obvious preparation and coordination that had preceded this conversation. The research documentation, professional consultation, and strategic presentation approach revealed that Marcus and Amanda had been planning this elderly property management endeavor for weeks or months, conducting their assessment and developing their recommendations without any input from me about my actual needs, capability, or professional activities that continued to operate from the workshop they considered inappropriate for my demographic. The systematic nature of their elderly dismissal, from initial property assessment, through research coordination, to final presentation, demonstrated the kind of family relationship management that prioritized their comfort and aesthetic preferences over respect for my expertise and understanding of my continued professional contributions. Their comfortable assumption that age automatically indicated reduced capabilities and simplified needs revealed the depth of their elderly marginalization strategy and their fundamental failure to recognize the professional authority and technical expertise that had created every advantage they enjoyed. "Thank you again for sharing your research and recommendations," I said while maintaining professional composure despite the systematic dismissal I had just experienced. "I can see that you've put considerable effort into analyzing the workshop situation, and I want you to know that your concerns about age-appropriate property management have been clearly communicated and will receive the attention they deserve." The satisfied expressions that crossed both their faces confirmed their assumption that elderly relatives could be managed through professional presentation and reasonable explanation, without considering the potential consequences of dismissing the very person whose institutional authority and technology coordination created their comfortable business lifestyle. Their confidence in successful elderly property management revealed their complete ignorance of the sophisticated infrastructure that supported their equipment, financing, regulatory advantages, and business stability throughout their manufacturing ownership experience. The evening of March, as I sat in my home office while Marcus and Amanda enjoyed their successful elderly consultation in the house next door where Sarah and her family lived, I began accessing the comprehensive institutional technology management systems that would transform their comfortable assumptions about property ownership entitlement into the most expensive lesson about elderly respect and engineering appreciation that any Texas manufacturing family had ever received. Sometimes the most expensive mistake you can make is assuming that institutional technology coordination and private management are automatic entitlements that continue regardless of how the beneficiaries treat the elderly relatives whose expertise created their opportunities for advanced equipment and precision manufacturing access. The workshop shed that Marcus and Amanda considered too fancy for someone my age would become the catalyst for demonstrating that respect for elderly engineers isn't optional courtesy, it's the foundation for continued access to the sophisticated technology infrastructure that makes modern manufacturing possible in competitive environments that require both technical excellence and character integrity to navigate successfully. The systematic elderly dismissal that I had experienced during our family property consultation represented the kind of character revelation that triggered comprehensive beneficiary review protocols and institutional technology assessment procedures that would fundamentally alter their understanding of who controlled their business success and what qualifications were required to maintain access to the manufacturing support systems that enabled their comfortable Austin lifestyle and precision machining business operation. At 9:30 p.m., I initiated the first phase of what would become the most comprehensive beneficiary character assessment in Texas institutional technology history, by accessing the Hendricks Family Technology Trust's quantum encrypted database systems and implementing private equipment ownership evaluation status for Marcus Daniel Rodriguez's institutional manufacturing accounts. The administrative classification that I applied indicated potential beneficiary conduct violations, requiring comprehensive character evaluation throughout the regional private technology management network that coordinated equipment financing and business support for thousands of manufacturing families throughout the southwestern United States. The technology assessment protocols that I activated included comprehensive coordination that affected Marcus's equipment verification system, business loan documentation, facility insurance records, and regulatory compliance eligibility that determined his continued manufacturing ownership and business planning security. The systematic nature of the classification modifications ensured that every platform and system connected to his business ownership expectations experienced coordinated changes that created immediate complications for his equipment planning and long-term consequences for his family's manufacturing security and institutional technology access. The sophisticated nature of the institutional technology infrastructure that had operated invisibly throughout Marcus and Amanda's comfortable assumptions about business independence would soon become the most visible demonstration of professional authority and family accountability that the Texas manufacturing community had ever witnessed, proving elderly engineers, whose expertise creates opportunities for precision manufacturing and advanced equipment access, deserve respect and appreciation, rather than systematic dismissal and age-based property management advice from beneficiaries who had never bothered to understand the source of their business advantages and comfortable lifestyle maintenance.
By 11:45 p.m. on March 22nd, the first automated notifications had been generated by trust systems that detected beneficiary irregularities affecting Marcus's institutional technology status and private manufacturing coordination assessment. The alert protocols that I had implemented included federal notification requirements that triggered immediate evaluation of private equipment distribution eligibility and business coordination assessment that could affect his family's manufacturing planning calculations based on character evaluation standards and family respect verification protocols established throughout the Southwest Regional Manufacturing Technology Network. The comprehensive nature of the institutional technology modifications that I had initiated would become apparent over the following days, as Marcus's comfortable assumptions about automatic equipment support, seamless business financing encountered the reality of character-based eligibility assessment and trust accountability protocols that most manufacturing business owners never experience because they maintain appropriate respect for elderly relatives and understand the value of generational wisdom in professional development and family relationship management. The first immediate impact of my institutional technology modifications became apparent when Marcus attempted to access their monthly private equipment coordination system at 6:45 a.m. on March 24th and discovered that their institutional manufacturing accounts had been classified as under beneficiary review, pending character assessment, by the Texas Regional Private Technology Authority. The panic that followed his discovery revealed the extent to which his family's business stability and comfortable lifestyle depended on institutional equipment distributions and trust coordination that he had never understood or appreciated throughout his 4 years of business ownership and professional development. The panicked phone call that I received came from Marcus at 7:20 a.m., with obvious desperation and confusion about the administrative complications affecting his institutional technology access and family business planning. "Patricia, something terrible is happening with our equipment accounts and manufacturing coordination," he announced with professional emergency language that revealed his immediate understanding of catastrophic business implications. "Our institutional technology distributions have been suspended, and the federal authority is requesting documentation about beneficiary conduct evaluation and family respect verification that we don't understand. The Travis County Manufacturing Authority is requesting immediate documentation about our institutional technology status and character assessment verification," Marcus continued with growing panic about the implications for his family's business security and equipment stability planning. "This is affecting our business standing and potentially compromising our equipment access, with programs that require verified ownership, backing and accurate manufacturing positioning throughout the regional technology development network." The transformation in Marcus's tone, from confident property management advisor to desperate beneficiary seeking assistance, revealed the immediate impact of discovering that his business advantages weren't the result of his individual achievements, but rather institutional support that could be modified or withdrawn based on character assessment, family respect evaluation. His sudden understanding of the connection between family relationships and business stability represented the first stage of the character development process that would either restore his access to institutional technology coordination or permanently alter his family manufacturing prospects and financial security. "I understand you're experiencing some complications with your institutional technology coordination, Marcus," I replied with the professional composure that had characterized my responses to manufacturing crises throughout my career. "These types of character assessment reviews are triggered by specific beneficiary conduct patterns that require evaluation before continued support can be verified. The documentation requests you're receiving are standard protocols for ensuring that trust resources are allocated to families who demonstrate appropriate character and respect for family relationships." The silence that followed my explanation revealed Marcus's growing comprehension that his business complications weren't administrative errors, but rather consequences directly related to the family property consultation he and Amanda had conducted 2 days earlier. His eventual response demonstrated the beginning of genuine concern about the connection between his elderly dismissal and the institutional support that enabled his comfortable business lifestyle. "Patricia, are you saying that our conversation about your workshop shed is somehow connected to these institutional technology problems?" Marcus asked with the kind of careful language that indicated he was beginning to understand the severity of his character assessment situation. "Because if that's the case, then Amanda and I may have seriously misunderstood the situation, and we need to discuss how to resolve any misunderstandings about our property management recommendation." The phrase "seriously misunderstood the situation" represented the first acknowledgement that Marcus was beginning to recognize the potential consequences of systematic elderly dismissal and age-based property management advice. His reference to resolving misunderstandings suggested that he was starting to understand that respectful family relationships weren't optional social obligations, but rather essential requirements for continued access to the institutional technology support that enabled his business success. By the end of the first week, the comprehensive nature of Marcus and Amanda's institutional technology classification complications had generated legal consultation fees exceeding $107,000, administrative documentation requirements that consumed over 240 hours of their combined professional time, and business standing complications that required extensive verification procedures and potential lifestyle restructuring based on equipment status uncertainty and trust administration challenges that affected every aspect of their manufacturing planning and financial security expectations. The most shocking revelation came on April 8, when Marcus discovered the true ownership structure of his precision manufacturing business through legal documentation required for the institutional technology status verification process. The equipment records that his attorney obtained revealed that the advanced CNC machines coordinate measuring equipment, and specialized tooling that formed the foundation of Rodriguez Advanced Manufacturing were owned by Hendrix Technology Holdings LLC, with Dr. Patricia Louise Hendrix Morrison listed as the primary managing member and decision-making authority for all equipment-related matters and business operational coordination. The moment of recognition that Marcus experienced when he realized that the elderly woman, whose workshop shed he dismissed as too fancy for someone her age, was actually the legal owner of his $2.3 million manufacturing operation, represented the most devastating character assessment, revelation, in Texas institutional technology history. His systematic elderly dismissal and family property management advice hadn't just violated family respect obligations, they had been directed toward the very person whose private technology ownership authority determined his family's continued business security and lifestyle maintenance. When Marcus called me on April 10 with genuine terror in his voice and desperate confusion about the institutional technology ownership revelations affecting his family's business security, something remarkable began to happen that would transform this story from simple private technology administration into a profound lesson about family values and elderly respect that would influence manufacturing relationships throughout the Texas industrial community for years to come. "Patricia, I think I've made the most terrible mistake of my life," Marcus said during our emotional conversation that would mark the beginning of his character transformation and the foundation for rebuilding authentic family relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. "I was so focused on optimizing what I thought were property management issues and providing what I believed was helpful retirement advice that I completely lost sight of what really matters: respect for elderly relatives, appreciation for family wisdom, and understanding that professional success means nothing if you achieve it by excluding and dismissing the people who support and care about your family's well-being and business prosperity." The genuine remorse that Marcus expressed during our conversation represented the first authentic character development he had demonstrated since establishing his systematic approach to elderly relationship management and property assessment consultation. His recognition that property optimization without family respect was meaningless success revealed the kind of character growth that distinguished deserving technology support from permanent institutional equipment, privilege, suspension, and trust coordination. Amanda's parallel recognition of their elderly dismissal came during a separate conversation with Sarah. She broke down completely while acknowledging that her age-appropriate property management recommendations had been based on systematic assumptions about elderly capabilities rather than actual understanding of my continued professional activities and technical expertise. Her tears weren't just about the potential loss of their comfortable lifestyle. They reflected genuine shame about the disrespectful way she had treated an elderly relative whose generosity and expertise had created every advantage their family enjoyed. Rather than simply resuming their private technology coordination after their character revelation, I proposed something that would serve both character development and community benefit while creating opportunities for authentic family healing and meaningful manufacturing responsibility that would honor both professional excellence and family relationship. I created the Technology Development Community Responsibility Program that would operate for 36 months, providing manufacturing literacy education and institutional technology coordination for elderly community members, while requiring their direct participation in elderly industrial services under my supervision as program coordinator throughout the Austin metropolitan area. The Technology Development Community Responsibility Program would require Marcus and Amanda to work alongside experienced manufacturing literacy specialists, community development workers, and elderly service professionals who understood the value of traditional wisdom and generational respect, while providing essential institutional technology education to underserved elderly populations throughout Travis County, Williamson County, and the greater Texas manufacturing. The program would combine hands-on technical education with character development requirements that emphasized respect for elderly expertise and appreciation for the professional contributions
that senior citizens continued to make in manufacturing communities throughout the state. The transformation that began during the first month of the program exceeded even my own expectations for what community service could accomplish when combined with character accountability and elderly recognition protocols. Marcus's initial reluctance to participate in hands-on elder manufacturing education gradually evolved into genuine appreciation for the seniors we served and understanding of the technical expertise required for effective institutional technology coordination and family business management that honored both professional excellence and traditional family values. The elderly community members who worked alongside Marcus and Amanda included retired manufacturing professionals, former technology administrators, and institutional equipment professionals whose lifetime of service and professional expertise provided daily examples of the elderly wisdom and community contribution that they had dismissed during their systematic family relationship restructuring and property management optimization strategies. These senior citizens demonstrated that advanced age often correlated with increased expertise rather than reduced capabilities, challenging every assumption that had guided Marcus and Amanda's elderly property management consultation. Mr. Robert Ch, an 82-year-old retired aerospace engineering manager who had spent 48 years developing institutional technology programs for major Texas manufacturing institutions, became particularly influential in helping Marcus understand the connection between family respect and community responsibility. "Young man," he told Marcus, during their 15th week of working together, "I've seen thousands of families over the year, and I can tell you that the most successful manufacturing communities always start with families that understand how to honor their elderly members and learn from generational wisdom, rather than dismissing us as obstacles to overcome or burdens requiring management." Mrs. Elena Rodriguez, a 79-year-old former quality control administrator, whose precision manufacturing expertise had influenced Texas industrial standards for decades, provided Amanda with daily demonstrations of continued professional competence and technical innovation that challenged every age-based assumption about elderly capabilities. "Mija," she explained to Amanda during a particularly challenging precision measurement training session, "respect isn't about age or appearance. It's about recognizing expertise and appreciating the professional contributions that people make throughout their entire lives, regardless of when they were born or what demographic category other people assign to them." The 36 months of program operation created measurable community impact that included coordinating institutional technology education for over 3 elderly community members, providing manufacturing literacy training to 67 families and individuals throughout the Austin area, and creating ongoing support networks that continued serving seniors long after the formal program concluded. The success of the program attracted attention from institutional technology administrators throughout Texas and established a model for family-based community service that honored the elderly needs and intergenerational collaboration, while advancing manufacturing education and technical literacy throughout underserved communities. But perhaps the most significant transformation was the change in Marcus and Amanda's understanding of family relationships and the value of elderly wisdom in creating meaningful community contribution and authentic professional success. Their systematic elderly dismissal and family property optimization strategies were replaced by genuine appreciation for my institutional technology expertise and recognition of how family respect and community service could create personal satisfaction and family fulfillment that exceeded anything achievable through competitive business advance and strategic elderly management that prioritized convenience over relationship quality. The workshop shed that had triggered this entire character development journey became the headquarters for our expanded community manufacturing education program, with Marcus and Amanda working alongside elderly volunteers to provide technical training and equipment literacy for senior citizens throughout the Austin area. The advanced engineering facility that they had once considered too fancy for someone my age now served dozens of elderly community members who used the precision equipment and professional workspace to continue their own technical projects and contribute to community manufacturing education. Americas's business, Rodriguez Advanced Manufacturing, was fully restored to his ownership after successful completion of the community service program, but with a crucial difference: he now understood that business success without family respect and community contribution was meaningless achievement. His company became a leader in manufacturing education partnerships with senior citizen organizations, providing technical training and equipment access for elderly community members who wanted to continue their professional development and share their expertise with younger generations. 5 years later, Marcus's transformation had become a model for family-based community service throughout Texas, with his story featured in manufacturing development publications and institutional technology administration journals as an example of how private equipment intervention could create family healing and authentic elderly appreciation. His work coordinating the annual Texas Family Manufacturing Responsibility Network, which operated in 67 communities throughout the state, provided ongoing opportunities for meaningful contribution while maintaining the family relationships and elderly respect that he had learned through his manufacturing service experience. The beautiful home in Cedar Park, where Marcus, Amanda, Sarah, and their 3 children now live, purchased through their own legitimate financing after demonstrating sustained character development and family respect, provided comfortable family living while supporting their elderly advocacy work and community manufacturing education. The elegant but modest home reflected their understanding that true satisfaction came from authentic relationships and community contribution, rather than competitive family positioning and systematic elderly dismissal that prioritized individual advancement over family harmony and mutual respect. Amanda's current position as Community Manufacturing Advocacy Director at the Texas Department of Aging and Disability Services, earning $127,000 annually, while coordinating elderly institutional technology programs and family business education throughout the region, provided meaningful professional work that honored both her organizational expertise and her commitment to community service and family values that emphasized elderly respect and generational appreciation. Her transformation from age-based property management advisor to elderly advocacy professional demonstrated the potential for authentic character development when consequences are combined with opportunities for growth and redemption. Sarah's pride in her family's transformation and community contribution reflected the healing that had occurred throughout our extended family relationship. The daughter who had once been caught between her mother's expertise and her husband's dismissive assumptions now served as a bridge between generations, helping other families navigate the challenges of maintaining respect and appreciation across different age groups, while building successful businesses and meaningful community connections. As I write this final chapter from my beautiful lakefront home in the Texas Hill Country, purchased with proceeds from my institutional technology consultation work and surrounded by the advanced engineering workshop that serves as both personal laboratory and community education center, I'm surrounded by family photographs that document our journey toward authentic relationships and mutual respect, professional commendations that honor my career achievement, community recognition that celebrates the technology development community responsibility programs, ongoing impact throughout the Texas manufacturing region. The son-in-law who told me my workshop shed was too fancy for someone my age discovered that respect for elderly relatives is like accommodation. It's the foundation for institutional technology eligibility and private equipment coordination that determines whether families build meaningful legacies or destroy opportunities through systematic dismissal of generational wisdom and traditional values. that professional expertise regardless of age or demographic assumptions about capability and contribution. The workshop shed that had been dismissed as inappropriate for my demographic became the foundation for a community manufacturing program that served hundreds of elderly residents, while teaching Marcus and Amanda about the critical importance of elderly respect and family loyalty. The system family property management strategy that had been used to provide unsolicited retirement advice was transformed into community service that demonstrated how institutional technology administration and family healing could create opportunities for authentic contribution and meaningful personal satisfaction that honored both professional excellence and traditional family values. The age-appropriate storage recommendations that had revealed Marcus and Amanda's systematic elderly dismissal became the catalyst for understanding that elderly expertise doesn't expire with advanced age and that professional capabilities often increase rather than decrease as individuals accumulate decades of experience and wisdom. The property management consultation that had assumed reduced capabilities based on demographic characteristics was replaced by appreciation for continued professional contribution and recognition that respect for elderly relatives creates the foundation for authentic community leadership and meaningful family legacy development. Marcus's precision manufacturing business, which had almost collapsed due to his character assessment failure, now thrives as a model of community engagement and elderly appreciation, providing technical education and equipment access for senior citizens, while maintaining the highest standards of precision manufacturing and customer service excellence. The business success that had once been taken for granted now serves as a platform for community contribution and family relationship modeling that influences manufacturing families throughout Texas and demonstrates the connection between character integrity and sustainable professional achievement. Remember, institutional technology ownership and private equipment coordination aren't guaranteed family privileges, they're earned recognition of demonstrated character and elderly respect that creates foundation for business credibility and authentic community contribution. The workshop shed that disappeared from personal property management and became community service headquarters taught Marcus and Amanda about the true meaning of private technology administration and the critical importance of honoring the elderly wisdom that distinguished lasting manufacturing responsibility for superficial lifestyle presentation and systematic elderly dismissal. Sometimes the most valuable lesson you can teach ungrateful family members is that technology privilege isn't automatic entitlement, it's earned recognition that continues only when families demonstrate appropriate respect for elderly wisdom and traditional values that create the foundation for authentic community service and meaningful institutional technology administration. The private equipment coordination that had protected their comfortable lifestyle became the foundation for their transformation into community servants who understood that true success comes from serving others while honoring the elderly relatives whose lifetime of expertise and service created every opportunity for authentic contribution and family legacy development. The elderly dismissal that began with property management advice about workshop appropriateness ended with community education programs that served hundreds of senior citizens, while creating authentic family relationships based on mutual respect and appreciation for generational wisdom. Fancy for someone your age assessment that triggered comprehensive technology review became the catalyst for understanding that elderly engineering expertise represents accumulated professional achievement rather than outdated capability requiring management and optimization. Age-appropriate recommendations. 5 years after this story began, the workshop shed that Marcus and Amanda considered inappropriate for my demographic continues to serve as both advanced engineering laboratory and community education center, providing manufacturing literacy training for elderly community members while supporting my continued professional innovation and technical development activities. the building that had been deemed too fancy for someone my age now hosts weekly precision manufacturing classes for senior citizen, equipment training sessions for elderly entrepreneurs, and technical innovation workshops that combine generational wisdom with contemporary manufacturing technology. The family relationships that had been strained by systematic elderly dismissal and property management consultation have been transformed into authentic connections based on mutual respect, appreciation for professional expertise, and understanding that family success requires honoring all generations, rather than optimizing relationships based on demographic assumptions and age-related capability assessment. Marcus and Amanda's journey from elderly dismissal to community advocacy demonstrates that character development is possible when consequences are combined with opportunities for growth, education, and authentic service to others who deserve respect and appreciation, regardless of their age or demographic characteristics. The institutional technology empire that operated invisibly throughout their comfortable assumptions about business independence became the foundation for community programs that serve thousands of elderly citizens, while creating opportunities for intergenerational collaboration and mutual learning that honors both traditional wisdom and contemporary innovation. The advanced engineering expertise that had been dismissed as inappropriate for my age now serves as a source for community education and professional development that influences manufacturing families throughout Texas while maintaining the highest standards of technical excellence and community contribution. This story ends, not with punishment, but with transformation, the kind of authentic character development that creates lasting change and meaningful community impact, while honoring the elderly wisdom that makes such transformation possible. The workshop shed that was too good for someone my age became the symbol of what's possible when families choose respect over dismissal, appreciation over optimization, and authentic relationships over strategic management of elderly relatives, whose expertise and generosity create the foundation for all families' success and community contribution. The lesson is clear: respect for elderly relatives isn't optional courtesy or demographic management, it's the foundation for authentic families' success and the cornerstone of communities that honor wisdom, appreciate expertise, and understand that professional capability doesn't expire with advanced age, but rather accumulates through decades of experience and service to create the wisdom that guides families toward meaningful achievement and lasting contribution to their communities and future generations.